Oh, this bitch.
Hello and welcome to episode 338 of Awards Daily's Water Cooler Podcast, the video edition. I'm your host, Clarence Moy, and I am joined by the majority of Team ADTV. So we're going to go around the virtual water cooler, the Zoom cooler, I don't know what we call it here, and introduce ourselves. I'm going to start with my left. So Ben, we'll start with you.
Hi, this is Ben Morris. You can find me on Twitter at head_wizard.
Shadon?
I'm Shadon Larkey, and you can find me on social media at Shadon Larkey.
Joey?
Hi, I'm Joey Moser. You can find me on Twitter at JoeyMoser83.
David?
David Phillips, and you can find me at Brother Julius83. Joey, I never noticed your 83 was my 83 too. All right.
Megan?
Hi, I'm Megan McLaughlin. You can find me on Twitter at HeyDudeMeg. No 83.
And again, I'm Clarence Moy. You can find me on Twitter at Clarence Moy. So guys, happy Emmy Day.
Yeah. Finally here.
Yes, absolutely. It seems like this has been the longest, strangest season ever. Lots of Zoom calls, and work life and in Emmy life. But we finally gotten here. And I would say that the Emmy nominations were as strange as we thought they would be? Question mark?
Yes.
Yep. So what I want to do is I want to start with something, so often when we, not we specifically, but so often when people start talking about awards nominations, we tend to think about the things that we didn't like or the things that were omitted. I don't like to say snubbed, but things that were omitted. Let's talk about things that we did like, at least one thing that you liked about these nominations. And David, I'm picking on you first.
Two things. I'll give you two. Julianne Nicholson. I thought her collapse at the last episode of Mayor of Easttown was one of the most just alarmingly great physical acts on television I've ever seen. And I will always hold a banner for Michael K. Williams, aka Omar. I was really excited to see him get nominated. I adore him, and even though I'm not a huge Lovecraft Country fan, I always admire his work. So that's my two. I hated everything else. So this
Speaking of not Lovecraft Country fan, Megan.
Well, I was going to say, I did not pick Lovecraft Country in any of my picks because I thought that HBO was in on something, that they knew something we didn't know, that like maybe they thought it's not going to do well with the Academy, and then it did. So I misread that. I was excited to see Aidy Bryant show up in the comedy series actress. I was excited to see Conan show up in the talk show one. I always get those names wrong. What else? There were a lot of good things. MJ, I'm taking all of Joey's. MJ Rodriguez showing up. Joey's now got nothing over there.
That's a crime, actually.
What? That she?
No, that you have stolen things.
That I've stolen on his.
Literally stealing things from him.
I'm going to shut up now and let him. Well, I'll let whoever. There were a lot of good things in the categories, so I'll shut up. Sorry, Joey.
Joey, would you like to counter?
I was gonna say my favorite thing was Aidy Bryant. That was the first surprise that I think we got, because I don't think anyone had that on their radar whatsoever. So I really like that. I've been a big fan of Sherrill for a very long time. I'm not the biggest fan of the third season. I think it's funny that that's the season that she got nominated for. But no matter what it is, great. It's a wonderful character for her. But also, I'm excited that Bowen Yang got in. Maybe he would get in last year, but he is really funny. So yay! Whoa.
He made history as the first featured player on Saturday Night Live to ever get an Emmy nomination.
I sort of feel like raise your hand if you were on SNL and you didn't get nominated.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Multiple times, even.
Yeah. Shadon, your favorite?
I will say there was a lot of actors who I feel like kind of normally don't get in who got in this year. You mentioned MJ Rodriguez. There was like OT Fagbennel from the Handmaids that finally got in, and like Madeline Brewer from Handmaids finally got in. Paula Pell, I wanted her to get in for Girls 5 Ever, but she got in for like short film actress or something, so that was fun. So, and then there's a lot of actors who like got in for other projects, like Renee Elise Goldsberry and Anthony Ramos both got in for Hamilton, even though I'm going to pretend in my mind they were for other projects. So it was fun to kind of see some random people that I wasn't expecting, who I've liked for a really long time, finally get their Emmy due.
I'm sure we'll come back to Hamilton in a second, but Ben, we'll come back to you.
I was generally pleased with a lot of the nominations. At least most of my favorite shows and actors got in, but the surprise ones that I was really happy with, and I wish I'd had the guts to predict him, but Carl Clemens Hopkins getting a supporting actor for Hacks. Those last couple episodes with him, I was like, okay, now I understand what everyone's talking about, and I was really, and again, it was probably expected, but Hannah Einbinder as well for Hacks. And I'm still trying to figure out that category fraud of her being a supporting character in that show, but glad she got the acknowledgement.
And as a person who hates Las Vegas with everything in my body, I love Hacks. So I was really happy to see those nominations too. So I'll throw, there's three things I was happy about. There you go.
Rosie Perez is in that category too, which I was excited about.
I do love Rosie Perez.
That Carl Clemens Hopkins nomination shows how, even though Hacks didn't get as many nominations as Ted Lasso did, I think it shows how strong that show is, that they were able to get that supporting performance in. Although I would say it's a little surprising that they didn't get Caitlin Olsen in.
Yeah.
I just realized I think I left some nominees off of the list on awardsdaily.com/ADTV for supporting actress because I only have 6. So I'm missing some. I need to go back and fix that in a second. I think one of my, I predicted him. I don't think anybody was surprised that he got nominated, but so often I expect Evan Peters to be Emmy nominated for giving great performances, and it seems like he always misses out. And there was a danger, I think, in him missing out in this role because, spoiler alert, he doesn't make it all the way through the series, but he did get in, and it's a recognition of someone who plays just a really nice guy. And I think it's very hard to play nice guys. So often he plays crazy manic people on American Horror Story. But he played a really nice guy who had some issues and got nominated. And I was happy to see him there.
I think he could be a front runner there, personally.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And so he was also a person who felt like a quiet fraud, personally. Mm-hmm. He didn't feel like he really had earned his status, and he didn't know how to handle that. And he was, like you said, completely nice and decent, but he was a little bit lost.
Yeah.
He absolutely was.
With Kate Winslet.
He did.
Would you say, Ben?
He had great chemistry with Kate Winslet.
He did. He really did.
He did.
Didn't everybody? She was great.
I know. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So let's get to the fun part. What were the things that ticked you off? And I don't know who wants to go first, but please just go ahead.
I think David should go first.
Yeah.
He's ready to blow the shelves down.
I almost don't even feel like I know where to start, but okay. Small Axe, Good Lord Bird, and even though it did get some major nominations, The Underground Railroad, all 3 of those shows I felt like were of significant weight. Like Underground Railroad, I think, is sort of like Apocalypse Now in that it's not perfect, but people will be talking about it for ages. And Joel Edgerton not getting nominated, I'm kind of staggered by, really. But I guess maybe if you're that evil and awful, people don't want you. Small Axe, I know Amazon did a terrible job of promoting it, but it's not like the Golden Globes were so long ago that people couldn't remember that. And The Good Lord Bird, as far as Ethan Hawke is concerned, so this is twice in like recent, very, very recent history where Ethan Hawke has given the performance of his life, and now 2 separate academies have just ditched him. And I don't know what he did. He seems like I've interviewed him. He's a very nice guy, and he's gotten Oscar nominations before, and people know who he is, and no one has a bad word to say about him. And maybe that's it. I don't know, but those 3 things really flabbergasted me. So yeah,
I'm glad.
And there's also some laziness too. Like, what is Hamilton doing?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we talk about that for a second? Because I understand. Okay. I understand that it was filmed for an audience to see it in the theater originally, and then now, with the circumstances, because something may have happened in the last year and a half, to watch it at home. The thing is, changing the staging and making the actors acknowledge the camera in certain ways is not an Emmy nomination make for me. And I'm sorry that I think more people got nominated for Emmys for performances than they did at the Tony Awards, because Anthony Ramos also got it. And that's not true, because some actors in supporting in the Tonys didn't get in, whatever. But the fact, like, the insane amount of performances that did not get in, like stuff from Underground Railroad,
in treatment in that in the supporting actor category is really upsetting that Anthony Ramos is not nominated for In Treatment, and John Hickey, what's his middle name?
John Benjamin Hickey.
Yes, he wasn't nominated. That's ridiculous too.
Yes, I agree.
But it's also like, I don't know, it just sort of pisses me off that it's just kind of like, okay. And it sort of like lends to, when I was reading the nominations off to my husband, he was like, why are there like three shows basically present in every category? And it just kind of pisses me off that, like, there's, especially with limited series, not only does the nomination count get knocked down because of the rules of how many things get in, and or how many things are submitted, instead of like having 8 limited series, there's only 5, and there's not as many performances enough to go around anyway. So good luck to shit that's going to come out next year, because it's not going to get out. Sorry, White Lotus, you have no chance of getting anything next year. It's just sort of maddening that they have the most, the richest probably categories, and they get sort of the shaft to begin with. And then Hamilton's like, we filmed this 2 years ago. Wow. Now everyone can see it. I actually like Hamilton, but it pisses me off.
I also felt
like Hamilton too. Yeah, that's not the problem, right?
Yeah, I felt like it was like, everybody was discussing last summer that Hamilton was going to win Oscars, and then it's like, well, then that was disqualified. It's like, well, let's see what we could do to make it win an Emmy.
Let's see what we can get.
Yeah, like that's what I felt like. And I honestly didn't think that people would fall for it, but they did.
Well, a lot of these nominations look like name checking.
Who did William H. Macy pay this time to get his nomination, as opposed to
that was his wife?
Well, comedy actors.
We think.
Category anyway.
I was gonna say, I'm glad it's on video so that everyone can see me like vigorously nodding my head. I'm gonna have like neck pain when this.
Your head's just gonna.
But it's hard because a lot of the shows that did really well this year are shows that I really love. I mean, like Crown is like my favorite show right now, WandaVision, Handmaids, etc. But like, and even Ted Lasso, I love Ted Lasso, but you look at these categories and you're like, well, if you would have spread the wealth a little bit, you could have had room for so many great shows. Like if you would, you could have made room for Mythic Quest. You could have made room for Underground Railroad and Writing. Like, did WandaVision really need 3? Like, there's so many, same thing with drama. Like, I totally agree. Like, the guys from In Treatment should have gotten in. So I think just the lack of, like, the concentration of all these shows getting was, like, really exhausting. And then I don't know if we're going to, I'll touch on the guest categories, but like, they've traditionally been a name checking category, but they've always sort of made room for really interesting performances in the past. But I feel like in the past few years specifically, it's become like, who's the most famous person to like randomly show up? Like, Don Cheadle literally getting nominated for 98 seconds, and Claire Foy like for 2 minutes, 3 minutes. It's just like, it's just exhausting and lazy seems like a cruel word to use, but I don't really know how else to describe it. Like,
and sort of going along with that, it's sort of just like everyone acknowledges what the pandemic has done. Everyone acknowledges that we have been watching more stuff more than ever because we have been sitting in front of our TVs. And it's sort of interesting that there is so much repetition in a lot of the categories with shows, not necessarily, well, sometimes with actors too, but it's kind of like, okay, you can scroll down the ballot. You don't have to. The ballot's really big. It's a big PDF. Like,
where's Don Cheadle? Where's Don Cheadle?
There he is. Oh, he's not eligible for Black Money. Oh my God, his name's on the ballot. Ah!
I mean, I couldn't agree with you more, Shadon. I mean, that I was completely flabbergasted to see him in that category because I had to think back. I'm like, did he have more than 2 sentences of dialogue? I mean, it literally felt like he was walking through a scene to go to the bathroom and he just waved to the camera and said, "Hey guys," and that's it. I mean, that just completely mind-blowing. And I think that whole show, I have issues with what they did with the placement. There was a character, I don't remember his name. I interviewed him, which is terrible. My brain is escaping me, but there's a character who has a important backstory that was the first Black super soldier in the series, and they campaigned him in supporting.
Carl Lumley.
Yeah,
he's wonderful.
I don't think that. I mean, clearly he had enough screen time to go into the supporting actor race. But that had a guest actor performance all over it. That was a guest. It had a lot of heft. It had a lot of gravitas within the show, but it didn't have a lot of screen time. If that doesn't qualify for guest actor, then you need to reevaluate your rules because it's ridiculous.
I will say Apollo Creed getting nominated, it made me very, very happy. Carl Weathers, I was just ecstatic. I've been a big Carl Weathers fan for a million years. I think in another time he would have been a big star. But in the time that he came in, there weren't the options, I mean, for Black actors. So I was excited about that. Now we can get back to bitching. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm going to give one other credit for the guest category too. They didn't put Mark Hamill in for that minuscule part. The nostalgia factor there didn't push him in. They at least went with people who actually did something on The Mandalorian. So there, I'll give them credit for that as well.
Oh, you mean for that scene at the end?
Yes, there were some people pushing for Mark Hamill to get a guest for that, and I'm like, no. So at least, again, so that's giving credit to the Academy.
Yeah, but then you go look at guest actress in a drama series, and there's the Claire Foy. I'm going to read out this speech in front of a record player.
Although she is really good in that scene. I'm going to defend her, but you're right. You're absolutely right.
I'm sure there are other guest performances that,
right. If you stack it up against Alexis Bledel, you're like, wait a minute.
Or look at what Sophie Okonedo did in Ratchet. I mean, I know you didn't watch Ratchet, but she, I mean, I'm still trying to figure out how a significant performance like that ended up in the guest actress category. I'm glad that it did because she got nominated, but she had, I mean, Joey, I felt like she had more screen time than warranted this nomination. I'm not going to say that out loud because often these things get taken away, but
well, I mean, I actually thought that because Sharon Stone, I thought did not have enough screen time and she would be guest, but she was supporting, and the sort of opposite for Sophie Okonedo. So
she makes such a huge presence.
Baby, she's so like, I kind of want her to win because she's like a sort of like, I think underrated actress. I feel like I remember listening to podcasts. I can't remember who they were, and they're like, "Oh, Sophie Okonedo for Hotel Rwanda," and I was like, "Shut your face about Sophie Okonedo. She seems lovely." So I don't know.
Yeah,
I should got into, but yeah, some of those guests. Like, do we need 4 men from SNL and Morgan Freeman for?
I wonder if that means that all 4 actors from Saturday Night Live or guest hosts from Saturday Night Live cancel each other out and Morgan Freeman wins an Emmy.
Does he have an Emmy? Let's see.
Don't know.
I bet he doesn't.
I mean,
he has like a voiceover.
How do you pick between those 4?
I think they need a new category for that because it's always Saturday Night Live.
I think they need to. No, he has never won an Emmy. He's only won for.
Oh, he's got to win then.
The fact that the ED reader has never won an Emmy pisses me off. I am dating myself like crazy.
What do you guys make of all the like final season shows getting back in? Do you think it's nostalgia or like laziness? Because you have like Allison Janney getting in for Mom, A.D. Bryant getting in, MJ Rodriguez for the final season of Pose, Conan getting in, Jessica Walter getting a posthumous nomination. There was a lot of like, William H. Macy. Like, do you think that it was like name checking or like, let's give this person a final boost of appreciation before?
I do feel like there was a bit of that this time, which I was surprised about. I'm sorry, go ahead.
There was with Pose though. I think Pose felt like it was still high at a high level. It's not like Shameless, who I don't even know who the hell watches that anymore.
Oh, I feel like a lot of people watch that show.
Really? Still?
Yeah.
I also think with Pose, they were like pushing like really hard. Like I kept seeing like I saw this like I look at like a lot of like print stuff because I want to see because I get like the trade papers, like the Hollywood Reporter and Variety. There were ads for that show everywhere. There was like a letter to the Academy from the creators of Pose that was like a full page color ad about like the importance of that show coming back to get nominated because it wasn't nominated for season 2. It was sort of like, it got a bunch of nominations for season 1 and Billy Porter won. And then it didn't hit like anywhere for season 2. I'm so glad at the amount of stuff that it got, like writing, directing, stuff like that. So I don't know. I think maybe in that instance, like the campaign itself really, really helped. I don't know.
Yeah. And I think, a lot of people mentioned MJ Rodriguez being is one of the positives of these nominations. I mean, we haven't mentioned this, but obviously that is a historic first as well as the first trans actor be nominated for for drama actress.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah.
So I want to get back to this question because I wasn't on Twitter very much today, but when I was a little frustrated with some of the dialogue on there because
Twitter.
Why?
I know it's insane. This is the most inclusive and diverse nominations I think they've ever had, but the two big shows that everybody's angry about are Black led shows, Small Axe and Underground Railroad, and I don't think clearly I don't think the Academy is intending to push them out, but I think Amazon just really screwed the pooch on this one.
I think it also came down to like what we discussed with Underground Railroad, that you're right, they should have had it one episode at a time. Also, I question whether people we're really going to sit down and watch it all together. I don't know. I mean, because it is a good show, but it's hard to watch. And I wonder, I haven't seen Small Axe, so that's one that I need to see. But I've been watching Underground Railroad, and it's hard to go back to. So I wonder, but it still doesn't make an excuse of why the lead actor didn't get in, though, I think.
I actually had some theories on that with Underground Railroad, and at the risk of being muted again, I really didn't like Underground Railroad as a show, period. And in fact, I binged the whole way through it just because I wanted to be done with it and just be ready before the Emmys to sort of give my thought process. And it's a show. When I listened to the podcast you guys talked about, and Clarence, you mentioned it's like a Terrence Malick film in many ways, the dreamlike status. And sometimes that dreamlike thing can work for me. And then other times I'm like, I get it. We're upset. Could you please move forward? And I just kept watching this character interact with characters that we really didn't get a whole lot of time with. I mean, in a show that's about slavery, I felt like I knew more about the one white character, Joel Edgerton, than anything else. And we're constantly cutting back to characters we vaguely met, like the episode 7 with Grace, that short episode, I'm like, I forgot that character existed. I know this is a short episode, but why are you giving me this at this moment? And I just wonder if you're not grabbed onto this show right away, it's going to be really hard for anyone. And even if you liked some of the acting, if the style of the show just didn't work for you, it's really hard to mark any of the actors off, just because it's such a hard thing to get into if you're not liking the way they're shooting it. And for Small Axe, I think it still confused people whether or not this was a movie or a TV show. I mean, I that's a conversation I think is definitely worth having. And I can see the viewpoint one way or another. And I haven't finished Small Axe yet either, so I don't know how good or bad it is. But I think that actually had a lot to do with why those two shows didn't do as well as they did.
I want to slightly defend Ben's perspective on, although I disagree with him overall on the Underground Railroad, I do want to slightly defend your perspective on the dreamlike status of the state of the show, because I had a hard time with Barry Jenkins' style, and I love Barry Jenkins. Moonlight is my favorite movie of the 21st century, but I at first it took me a while to accept his style in that space. It's not 12 Years a Slave, right? Which is kind of the thing that you expect. If you can survive the first episode, and that's what I actually refer to it as, because when they, flog and burn, I think the character's called Big Anthony alive, I almost didn't make it. My wife stopped. She's like, I just can't do it, right? And after that, though, the sense of how should I even put it? What came after in terms of this exploration of an evil and the idea that no matter where you go, it could be Indiana, it could be, any of the places that the lead actress went, there is no safe place to go. And I think that resonated with me when I was watching it, that how would I ever feel that way? And I think the relationship between Joel Edgerton's character and Homer is a one-of-a-kind thing. I've never seen it before, but I get it.
Yeah.
It can be very polarizing. That show can be very, very polarizing.
Yeah. And that was what was strange for me too, because I really liked Moonlight as well. In that case, Barry Jenkins worked perfectly for me, but I've had a hard time with his other work. And yeah, I did like Joel Edgerton and Homer's interaction. I thought that was interesting, but just overall, the journey and the different places, it was just like everything's terrible, and it's terrible in different ways, like you mentioned, but I never got enough of a hold of where we were and what the characters were going through. So I always felt like I was at a distance no matter where I was with it. And so that was what really kept me from getting into the show.
I'm going to say the biggest disappointment there for me was the fact that Chase Dillon as Homer wasn't recognized, because I think that's the most compelling performance in the whole thing. I mean, he is fascinating to watch, and every time he was on screen, that's all I could see. And every time he wasn't on screen, I'm like, tell me more about this relationship with this between these two characters, because this, in fact, I you could make an entire series about those two characters and their travels through the South.
Yeah.
It was easily the most disturbing child performance I've seen since Jodie Foster in Taxi Driver.
But I put that lack of a nomination solely at the feet of the three guys from Hamilton that got nominated that didn't deserve to be nominated, or at least two of them. But that is that. Did we cover everything we wanted to talk about with Hamilton?
Yes.
I can't believe.
Is it worth watching? Because it just seems like there's such this negativity towards it. I've noticed recently.
I'm on my deathbed promise is that I will never see anything having to do with Hamilton. And then I'll look to Joey and say, I never watched Hamilton. Joey's there at my deathbed, by the way.
He kills you. What are you talking about?
Pillow, right?
I have the book that it's based on, but that's very different in my opinion. So
it's I mean, if you want to see a perfect capture of a very good musical, It is perfectly capturing that moment of theater. Is it the same thing as last year's or a few years ago, the reinterpretation of Jesus Christ Superstar, where it was completely reimagined for television?
No.
Absolutely not.
No. Okay. Sorry, I'm just gonna see that. No.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's not. So let's go through the categories here. We're going to go through the major categories just very quickly. We'll start with drama series. Boys, Bridgerton, Crown, Handmaid's Tale, Lovecraft Country, Mandalorian, Pose, This Is Us. I will say I, like Megan, and sort of once HBO decided to cancel Lovecraft Country, I thought maybe they weren't putting any weight behind it. And so I thought, okay, it didn't get in. It got very poor guild reaction. It didn't get in, I think, maybe just one or two nominations at SAG or Golden Globes. I thought it was done.
Yeah.
Cancel the show, and then it gets 18 Emmy nominations. Go figure. And it didn't get the nomination I think it deserved the most, which is some of the direction. I think it got completely shut out of direction.
I think you're right. I think it did.
No, it got writing. It did not. No, it did not get direction.
Yeah. But, I will say none of these nominations were a surprise. I mean, I think The Boys was always on the edge of that 8th nomination. It was either that or Ratched. Ratched, the Academy clearly did not like. 4 nominations. Yeah. And really, in terms of Ratched, that is really hurt because it didn't get in at production design. Things like, Ryan Murphy shows always get in for costumes and production design, which I was fairly surprised about. But everything else seemed pretty expected with drama series.
I was surprised with The Boys personally, and it was like I didn't predict it, but I knew that was like a possibility. But I was also like kind of excited too when I saw that. It was like, oh, cool, like something different.
Yeah.
Started watching it today because of that. I was like, all right, it's got like a bunch of nominations. I'll start watching it. I've been meaning to watch it anyway, so.
And now Clarence doesn't have to watch Perry Mason.
That's right. I don't have to watch Perry Mason.
Pretty good. But I've been watching In Treatment because I thought In Treatment was going to get it. So.
Yeah, I think that was probably where I was going with the 8th slot. Because of the Uzo Aduba draw. So Uzo Aduba's in, and she's getting a nomination, but no shot for anything else in her project because she absorbs. It's a name thing, right? I don't think anybody really. So. If they watch that show, I think they do because it's like an actor's showcase.
It's like an established property that they brought back. So I do think people watch it. But then it's also weird they have it on like Friday nights, right? And they like burn off 2 or 3 episodes at a time, right?
Well, they dropped all the rest of the episodes on HBO Max, like in the 3rd or 4th week. They're like, here's all of it. And I was like, oh, I don't know why you're doing that, but okay, I can watch all of it.
I mean, it is interesting, but it's also very much like often a 2-hander where it's just 2 people in a room. Like and so you really have to be. Uzo Aduba is great. And also, John Benjamin Hickey is amazing. Yeah. Anthony Ramos is amazing. So it's really an acting showcase. So I'm wondering maybe SAG is where that'll pick up something.
I wonder if it is because it's also a remake, and in the original In Treatment wasn't exactly a huge Emmy draw either. I mean, that never got in for drama series. So. And
did they get some like guest acting? Yeah, they had like some guest acting.
Gabriel Byrne get a nod at some point, I think.
Yeah, Diane Wiest, her Emmy is for In Treatment.
Is that right?
Crown led obviously with 24 nominations, but The Handmaid's Tale, I think you can argue that The Handmaid's Tale is back. Although I think you could also argue that it never left because it got a bunch of nominations for that little 3-episode hanging season or whatever that was.
Yeah. I thought that it was going to be, if it came back, if it's never been gone, even with that 3rd or that season that was off, I thought with this 4th season, so 4, right? It's going to be back, like, because it's so good.
Well, I mean, it was definitely a way for the 3rd season. I mean, Elizabeth Moss and Ann Dowd were left out last year. So that was a huge departure. So I would say it is back in full swing, in the biggest swing it's ever had, because it's the best season since the first season.
And Jalal's back too. Yay!
Yes.
For a second, I was like, did we all know he was here? I was like, wait.
I knew he was there. I was waiting for him to appear.
Anything else about drama series? Anything surprising, missing?
I have one question. Is Lovecraft Country actually good? And here's why I ask. I thought the pilot episode was amazing. I mean, amazing. I was totally with it. And then the second one, I thought, did HBO air the finale by accident? And
I binged. I did what Ben did what you did for the Underground Railroad, I did for Lovecraft Country, and I don't care for Lovecraft Country, but there are some episodes that are really good.
Yes, the Korea episode and the Tulsa episode, I thought were really good too. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and then the one episode that Clarence likes, the Strange Case. Those are good.
The episode where Wunmi Masaku's character goes undercover as a white woman.
Yeah, but the rest of it, I was like so confused by, and I didn't understand. So I'm the one who doesn't like it. Sorry.
I gave up on it after the second episode because I couldn't understand the same thing. I'm like, wait, what's happening? Why are we feel like we're skipping so many
it
scenes.
does feel like that. Yeah.
And also I'm like, okay, well, no, at least I got Courtney B. Vance to watch. Son of a, you got rid of Courtney B. Vance. That was my main hold.
Right.
Come on.
Right. But he did get that Emmy nominee guest actor.
He did, yeah.
He did.
So you should come for Courtney B. Vance, stay for the other characters. That was me.
That was the thing. I liked the acting. I thought the actors were all doing good, but I couldn't figure out the script, the style, the writing.
Yeah. The fact that it got writing nominations is just ridiculous to me.
I think
I disagree. No, I disagree. I don't know.
He likes those big swings.
So you liked it
when
the George's wife went through 2,000 years of whatever.
That was a pretty good.
That was an incredibly popular episode. That was like the most popular episode of the season.
Is that right? That is interesting. I thought it was one of the worst things I'd ever seen.
I liked it, but I didn't understand it. That's the thing. I like watching it. I'm like, I like this. I'm entertained by this. I have no idea what's going on, which I wonder is the case for a lot of what people were watching. Because I was looking through Twitter after I started watching it. I'm like, what are people saying on Twitter about this? And I put hashtag Lovecraft Country confused because I wanted to see. And people were like, I'm so confused, but I'm enjoying it. And I thought, okay, that must be, maybe that's the draw. It's like, I don't understand, but I'm enjoying it.
I don't think that the show set out to be necessarily obviously not a linear plot, obviously not linear genre wise because it jumps around so much. I think it's something about sounds so cheesy, but I feel like there's something about it's trying to elicit a real strong emotional response from you, whether it is really good or I think that it's interesting that there are so many people that kept watching the show that sort of had no idea what was going on, like myself included. I don't know half the shit that was going on, but I think it was so incredibly well acted and the crafts were amazing, and I'm really pissed off that the production design did not get nominated. I don't know. I feel like there was a pluckiness to it that I don't see in the circle jerk of something like Westworld, which we brought up last week. It was just sort of like, don't worry guys, everything's so connected. I was like, fuck you, I don't care if it's connected. Give me the big stylistic choices and give me this insane ensemble. That's what I liked about it.
I will say you're right. It didn't have that don't worry guys, keep watching and we'll reveal everything, which I appreciated. Which I feel
it was not as self-serious. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
I thought it was just having a lot more fun. That's all. I don't know.
I
just found it maddening because I really loved the first episode so much, and I thought it derailed so quickly.
Oh, I think
I was begging myself.
I understand why you feel that way.
I mean? I wanted to be there for it. I'm not happy that I didn't end up liking it.
I wonder if, Misha Green was the showrunner, so we had a uniform voice through there. But I wonder if something like this couldn't have benefited from a single director, or a directorial vision who can smooth it out a little bit more, because they were so. I know drama series often, every drama series has a different director for most every episode, or they at least repeat, 2 or 3. But I wonder if we could have a bit more consistency, because one week it was like the Black Indiana Jones, and then it was then it was like a Body Snatchers thing, and then it was this, and it just all over the place. And I did like the show. I just felt like there were peaks and valleys, and those valleys were really, really deep valleys.
And the thing is, when I gave up on it, then they'd have like Korean tentacle sex, or they go to Tulsa and do almost as well as Watchmen did with that piece. I mean, so it was very frustrating.
I kind of wish that was the draw. That was like, next time, a Lovecraft Country, creepy tentacle sex. Like, I kind of wish that's what it was.
Let's move to drama actress, which was Uzo Aduba, Olivia Colman, Emma Corrin, Elizabeth Moss, MJ Rodriguez, and Jurnee Smollett. Who do you think is this front runner to win?
Emma Corrin.
Joey? You think Emma Corrin?
I do completely.
I agree with Ben. Sorry, Ben, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't realize you're asking Joey. I think she's just been so far and away what everyone's been talking about with this season. And The Crown is, we didn't say it before, but The Crown's the front runner to win Best Drama Series. And she was so much of the reason why that series worked so well. So I think it's her.
I agree with you, Ben, and I just want to say that I think this is my favorite category of all the categories, because it's like you really don't have a miss in this category. So well done, Emmys.
I think Uzo Aduba is a threat.
God, she just won.
But never bet against her. Never bet. It's like Regina King. If you put Regina King in this category, I know you bitches are going to say Regina King. It's the same thing. It's like kind of similar.
I have a question for Jalal.
What?
Okay. I feel like maybe I don't want to misquote you, but do you think that, did you say at some point that you think MJ Rodriguez could pull out a win?
She's winning.
Okay.
Oh my God, I would love that.
I feel like maybe you and I have talked about this. I feel like the biggest hurdle was the nomination to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Yep.
She's winning. They like the young actresses, and I'm sorry, Emma Corrin is not. Emma Corrin is not a youthful Betty Gilpin. What's that tiny lesbian bisexual woman's name?
Betty Gilpin? What?
She killed Eve.
Jodie Comer?
Jodie Comer.
Okay.
She doesn't fit the Jodie Comer. She doesn't fit the Zendaya. She doesn't it's MJ Rodriguez, and if it's not MJ Rodriguez, it's Elizabeth Moss.
Do you think that Olivia Colman's nomination hurts Emma Corrin?
I don't.
Yeah.
I think if she was going to win, it was going to be last year. I think Emma Corrin Olivia Colman is great in the season as well, but it became a lot more about what Diana was going through. And just for the record, Emma Corrin is actually younger than MJ Rodriguez. I just looked it up. So I still think it's Emma Corrin's. She's so much about what made that season work, Jalal. So I will be fighting you for that the whole time.
I think the things you just said are not contradictory to what I said. I just said she doesn't fit the bill of the past winner.
I was just pointing out the age difference, though. Emma Corrin is young, and
yeah, she's young, but she's not the type of young thing with the flashy performance that wins. She's not like the blowout ingenue. She's a quiet little lesbian playing a dead woman.
But she's also playing a woman who the idea of everyone has been trying to play Diana right and has never been able to get it.
One other person.
But now she has, and she's done it in such a big way. So
I'm kind of in the middle on both. I think you guys are making good points.
plus, I'm just
Wait for
passionate.
the,
That was that was probably the performance of the year for me was Emma Corrin. So
Wait for the Kristen Stewart Oscar run for Spencer.
I'm hoping that's going to be good. Actually, I really am.
She was good as Seberg. She surprised me.
I think Casey's a good actor. I think she has the same disease that Natalie Portman sort of has. Only Natalie Portman's actually gotten past it. Is that for a while she was only known for the worst thing she ever did, which was the Star Wars movies.
Really, I never thought she was known for that.
Oh my gosh, that was the most seen by far. That's because we are in this bubble where we pay attention to quality.
I guess you're probably right. So I mean,
Oh my God.
David, I missed that. Who are you comparing to Natalie Portman?
Kristen Stewart, because I think that Twilight became so pervasively as what she's known for that people can't have a hard time recognizing a lot of the smaller indie work that she's done where she's been.
She wasn't known for that. She was known for sleeping with somebody's man.
that's true too. That's true. That's
Well,
like
he
a
was in Twilight
combination.
too.
I think it's a combination.
No, David, the director.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, the director. Yeah, you're right. You're right. She was known for cheating on her Twilight co-star. You're right.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay, fair enough.
The only other thing I will say about drama actresses, I don't think if you're going to vote for somebody for the crown, I don't think you're voting for Olivia Colman, because I think a lot of people haven't forgotten how good Claire Foy was. You still see, as much as people love season 4, you do still see some things people saying, I just don't like Olivia Colman's take on the Queen. I don't like how she's so, stoic, and they just don't like, compared to the shift in performance between Claire Foy and Olivia Colman. A lot of people just haven't warmed to her. And I think that's, it's on purpose, right? Because the Queen is, as she gets older, she is not a huggable person.
What?
Yeah.
Shock. But she does have corgis, so you can bond with her over corgis. And she will hug
My dog will pay attention anytime I watch The Crown.
Oh, does he really?
He does.
That's so funny. And Jude Law.
Yeah, Andrew Law.
I want to go back to what Jalal said. If it's not MJ Rodriguez, then it's Elizabeth Moss.
Yes.
Why do you say that?
Did you watch the season?
No.
He didn't. But she also directed episodes she's fantastic this season. She really is.
It is a whirlwind of a performance, and I think a performance that actors should be studying for years to come. She goes from chaos, from murdering her friends, to helping a child murder a man, to an episode in Chicago that is like a mini capsule of the best film of the year, Quo Vadis, Aida. That is her running around a destroyed Chicago trying to find the eyeless woman. Then she gets to America, she gets on a boat, and she cries. She finally sees her husband again. She's sobbing, and she goes and she confronts Ostrovsky in the most vicious, disgusting way possible that is to die for. And then all of that is typical Elizabeth Moss, where she's insane. And then she goes and walks into the courtroom and gives a very stoic 5-minute speech in front of a courtroom. It's very bottled up, beautiful, one take, unedited, just her reliving everything she's ever gone through. And it is the best performance.
I've been officially talked back into watching it.
I was going to say, they should be hiring, Hulu should be hiring Jalal for this.
I agree.
This is the campaign right now. Actually, based on that, he gave a lovely recap of the season, and I think you guys should watch it.
Yes.
I'm talked back in. I really am. I'm not bullshit. I'll do it.
It's
The way I can watch
really
the
good.
whole season without watching the other two, the second and third.
Yeah.
I think
you can.
Yes, because I went back and watched all of it, and I kind of regret it. I would say just watch season 4.
I jumped out. Third season I didn't care for, and actually I was like, am I gonna watch the 4th season? And then I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And then I kind of like didn't really pay attention. Well, I paid attention, but the 3rd season I forgot about.
I'm going to push back a little and say you need to watch the 3rd season for now.
Do I need to watch it again?
No, watch the third. Like, if you're going to start Ben again, start with the third season finale.
Okay,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay.
I love The Handmaid's Tale. I'll just say I wish so desperately that they had done what The Leftovers did and did 3 10-episode really contained seasons, because I think like it's so spread out now that it's like kind of that's what made it dip in quality. But when The Handmaid's Tale, like when it hits and it's like rivals for the best thing on TV. There's just a lot of filler in there, but man, like the good stuff is, you want to talk about the highs of the highs? Yeah.
Yeah.
Shadon said the good stuff is good.
I don't know how else to say it. I don't want to be too mean.
No, she used a lot of O's the second time she said good. So let's
Good.
All right, let's move off to drama actor. Sterling K. Brown, the perennial nomination. Jonathan Majors, Lovecraft Country. Josh O'Connor for The Crown. Reggae Jean Page for Bridgerton. Billy Porter for Pose. Matthew Rhys, Perry Mason. Still not watching it.
Just watch his nominated episode.
pretty good.
No, I don't. He's not winning. So it's between 2 actors. It's between Billy Porter and Josh O'Connor.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I mean, I don't think anybody from. I mean, I don't think Reggae Jean Page wins for Bridgerton.
Can we just say,
Billy Porter wins again?
yeah.
I'm kind of thinking that. Especially given his character this season, even though Josh O'Connor's amazing.
Josh O'Connor was robbed of a nomination last year. I don't know. I need to catch up to. Apparently now I need to catch up to the 4th season of Handmaid's Tale and the final season of Pose, which I was going to watch anyway. I just haven't gotten around to it. But
Pose is short. You'll be able to get to that real quick.
Yeah. Well, I watched one brief moment of an episode, and they were talking about the O.J. Simpson thing, and I'm like, ugh, this Ryan Murphy drawing from the headlines moment. I just
like that part. I was kind of like, are you just going to talk about your own stuff that you do? like, is it also going to be like, and then Gianni Versace was murdered? Like, is he just going to like try to link them all together in the Ryan Murphy universe?
Others, your takes on drama actor?
I would love it if Billy Porter and MJ Rodriguez won. I think that'd be fucking amazing. I don't know. I don't think it's Reggae Jump Page. I think it's probably between those 2 guys. I think we're gonna get to the point where people, as we're going through these categories and as people are filling out their ballot, I don't know if people are strategic when they do it, but I feel like with a lot of instances, somewhere, I feel like something with The Crown that is like a lock for something, people are maybe going to think, I voted for The Crown a lot, I'm going to vote for this. So
that did not happen last year, though, right? Because they swept big time in Schitt's Creek. And
I think that's an anomaly, though. I feel like that's so. I don't know. I feel like. I mean, we all did think that because I feel like some of us thought that Annie Murphy wasn't going to win, but I don't know. I don't know.
Well, let's be honest. I do not think that 2 to 3 shows are going to sweep the Emmys this year. Like, because we're looking at a potential Ted Lasso sweep. We're looking at, I think, whatever wins in limited series, we'll do a mini sweep, whatever that means. And I just don't think it's going to happen for things. And I don't believe Netflix has the strength or the intelligence to pull off a sweep here, even though it's being handed to them.
Oh, you're killing me tonight, Joel.
I will say that with all of the content that Netflix puts out, even though they lost by 1, they lost the overall nomination count. Although I technically you could say it's Disney that has the most. Because Disney got 166 nominations. But HBO.
Clarence, are you including Hulu and stuff in that when you say technically?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that is what Disney is saying, is they have the most.
They sent out a press release.
Yeah, they sent out a press release saying they had 166 because of FX and Hulu.
And Nat Geo, probably with the dogs.
Yep. And Disney Plus had a lot too, which we'll talk about in a minute. Anything else on drama actor?
No.
Supporting actress drama. So we have 8 nominees here. We have 3 from The Crown: Gillian Anderson from The Crown, Madeline Brewer from Handmaid's Tale, Helena Bonham Carter from The Crown, and Dow, Handmaid's Tale. Oh wow, 4 from The Handmaid's Tale actually. Anjanou Ellis, Lovecraft Country, Emerald Fennell, The Crown, former Oscar winner Emerald Fennell, Yvonne Strahovski for The Handmaid's Tale, and Samira Wiley for The Handmaid's Tale.
But really, everybody who voted in this category only saw 2 shows in Lovecraft Country. Right?
Yeah. So I guess you can't argue against vote splitting, because I don't think that doesn't mean Anjanou Ellis is going to win for Lovecraft Country. It's Gillian Anderson's, right?
I still think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I do think Anjanou Ellis is in second.
Yeah.
Because she is respected.
Yeah.
I mean, she got that surprise nomination like 2 or 3 years ago too.
In lead actress, yeah.
In lead, yeah. So I mean, she's a respected actress.
I want them to tie and to give Helena Bonham Carter the Emmy that she deserved from last year. But that's not going to happen. Supporting actor drama: Giancarlo Esposito for The Mandalorian. OT, someone say his last name, because I've heard it pronounced different ways.
Fagbengal?
Fagbengal.
Fagbengal?
Fagbengal.
Fagbengal, okay.
For The Handmaid's Tale: John Lithgow, Perry Mason, Tobias Menzies, The Crown, Max Minghella, Handmaid's Tale, Chris Sullivan, This Is Us, Bradley Whitford, The Handmaid's Tale, Michael K. Williams, Lovecraft Country. Jalal, I'm going to throw this to you. You and I had a conversation earlier today about this category. Would you like to expound?
About the race aspect?
No, about the quality of these performances.
That they're terrible. That they're like genuinely bad, and that every year we have to sit there and wonder which bad performance is going to be nominated for supporting actor in a drama. Like, Jesus fucking Christ!
I hate this category.
Like,
I always hate this category.
Yes, Max Minghella is like cute, but like I've never seen a better performance than him running around on drugs in a Whole Foods with another actress. Like, he's wooden. I mean, it's Giancarlo Esposito.
I like Michael K. Williams, and I'll stick with that. And he's old and
He is good.
past due, and so
Yeah, he's
forth.
really good.
And I think he's legit good in a show that doesn't always. I mean, a friend of mine said, "Does anybody have foreplay in Lovecraft Country?" You know, like everybody just. That's it, you know. but yeah. Oh, is that? Can we do it again? No. But I think he found that more than was written for him in that part, and I think he's always going to be able to do that. He's just so authentic all the time.
I kind of think it's sad that Max Minghella is nominated, but Joseph Fiennes was never nominated, was he?
You know, maybe last time.
Was he nominated last time?
Yeah, and he got a SAG nomination. So
I'm sad that I predicted him for, I think, leading drama actor.
Yeah, lead.
And because I thought given, spoiler alert, his send off, maybe.
Hey, I haven't watched it yet.
No, don't spoil it for Joey.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
Guys are telling, okay, I'll get into it, but guess what? This happens.
Now I'm back out.
Why is Megan being yelled at for spoilers when I spoiled 9 episodes in a row?
Because
Yeah,
I
you
took
did.
my.
I was gonna say, I say one thing. He just went through the entire season.
I don't know if you noticed, but I took my headphones off when he started talking.
Oh, did you? I'm sorry, I did not notice that. I'll just watch you from now on. I'm just gonna watch you from now on.
Yeah, Michael K. Williams has been, in the front runner, I think, for all year. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. If something weird like Tobias Menzies wins, then it's going to be a crown sweep, which I don't think is going to happen. But that would be odd in the very beginning. I mean, the crown is not going to win all 4 acting races. Remember last year when we said Schitt's Creek is not going to win all 4 comedy acting races?
Has a drama ever won all 4 acting races? I just don't know that.
When the categories were different.
When what?
Like when the categories were different, and like
Oh, okay.
like in the 70s and stuff, you could like mix limited series and dramas. Like it's like hard to explain because it's so chaotic. But if you go back and look at how those categories lined up, like I think, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure Roots technically won drama categories, right?
Let's look it up.
Weird stuff happened.
Emmys, 1970. Someone write a book. While Joey's looking this up, we're going to move off to comedy series, which is basically Ted Lasso and Hacks and 6 other shows. Blackish, Cobra Kai, Emily in Paris, The Flight Attendant, Hacks, Kaminsky Method, Pen 15, Ted Lasso. If you want, if you want to engage in some commentary on our website, go read the comments for the post of the nominees, because there's a lot of conversation about shows masquerading in the comedy series category.
Oh, fuck that.
I'm just saying it's there.
Oh my God, that's never been said on our website comment section.
What could it
God,
possibly
someone
be
brought it
about besides The Flight Attendant? Are there other ones that people are
Cobra Kai.
That's a
Kai
comment. People can watching those men age is hilarious.
What do you guys make of the shows that actually, because you have like Cobra Kai that like didn't really get in for anything else? Did it get a ton of below? I don't think so, like below the line. And then speaking of like Emily in Paris, like it didn't get costumes,
That's it.
Which is straight. Yeah, but like I would think that costumes would be like because it's Patricia Field, so I was like shocked that it like didn't really show up anywhere other than production design. Yeah, and then no Pen 15. Oh well, Pen 15 got in, even though the only other thing I think it got was writing. I think
I got
but,
writing.
Like, no
last
acting
year too.
nominations for Pen 15. So it's interesting, like the ones that they picked. Like I feel like they kind of picked them out of, like they had support to get into comedy series, but didn't really make huge waves in other places.
Pen 15 did get in for casting, which was a pretty big deal.
I'm sad I didn't get in for directing because the episode that I feel like they may have, I don't know if they submitted more than one. They should have focused on the finale, but they I think they submitted that. I actually don't like this episode, the Wicked episode. I know a lot of people love that.
Oh, is that
I
the one
think
where they're
that-
hanging out in the trees a lot?
And they're like, pretending that they have like witchcraft power and stuff.
I actually quit watching after that episode.
That one I actually don't like, so I feel like that doesn't show what I think that shows something that's kind of annoying about the show. There were some people can find annoying. I love the show so much, but I feel like the finale would have been better just because it's really dramatic and big. I don't know.
Well, I think they should have submitted the episode with the little girl.
It's a great episode.
That gets in between their friendship because it's perfectly written, and that girl was robbed of an Emmy nomination.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason why I got that casting nomination, because of her and because of how they
Dylan.
They're like younger kids are freaking amazing.
So all year we've been assuming, and it very likely will continue to prove true, that Ted Lasso was going to get a comedy series here. But I would say, as we've said before, Hacks is strong here too.
Yeah.
It's between the two. I'm still going with Ted Lasso, but has anybody else been swayed off of Ted Lasso to think that Hacks could upset? All right.
I think any wavering thoughts within voters' minds will be curbed when the second season drops, which is in correct me, Terrence, 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's the 23rd, I think.
9 days, I think they said, at Metacritic.
Okay. 22nd. All right.
And the reviews are already saying it's going to be pretty much what we're expecting. So that sounds like it's in good shape.
It is. I've seen 3 episodes. It's good. The first episode I didn't love, but
I watched the first episode. I wanted to tell you, I liked it. It didn't bother me the way it bothered you, but I liked it.
It just threw me that for the first 10 minutes, it's nothing but those colloquialisms, those like Ted Lasso puns again and again and again. And it needed to, they've never done that before. It needed to be smoothed out a little bit more, but it does not continue that.
Yeah.
So, comedy actress. The big surprise here was Aidy Bryant getting in for Shrill, a show that I don't think hasn't gotten any Emmy nominations before. Is that right? Nope.
I like how Joy's like, no.
But she is joined by Kaylee Cuoco, Allison Janney, Tracy Ellis Ross, Jean Smart. Jean Smart's to lose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unless only way it would have been, I would even think anything else is if Hannah Einbinder had been in this category, as she should appropriately be. That
Agree
would be my
completely.
only argument. But
Hannah Einbinder couldn't even stop her.
what's that?
Hannah Einbinder couldn't even stop her.
No, I don't think she could stop her. I would say on quality. My only if I was going to weigh in quality, I would have a hard time deciding between the two who I liked more. But I agree. It's I think Jean Smart's to lose. Yeah.
Hannah Einbinder couldn't play her own wax figure.
Gonna what?
Yeah,
She couldn't play her own wax figure.
So in the show, I don't know if everybody knows this, but in the show, there is a Hannah Einbinder's character goes and visits a wax figure of Jean Smart to get the iPhone unlocked. That is actually Jean Smart playing herself as a wax figure.
Did not know.
Yeah. The other thing that I think impresses people is in the finale of the first season, there is a funeral. She filmed that scene 1 week after her husband passed away.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Unexpectedly.
When I read that, I go, she's not losing. Like, no way.
Yeah.
No way.
I will say I was kind of not lukewarm, but I think Megan, you described it best where you said there's a lot of like side plots that kind of, I totally agree with that. That like it wasn't as I guess like tight as I wanted it to be. And like a lot of times when Jean Smart wasn't on screen, I was kind of like waiting for her to come back.
Yeah.
But that finale episode like completely sold me. Like any doubts that I had about the show or kind of like misgivings, like that finale just blew me away. Like I think it sets up a second season perfectly. Like I think the second season is going to be even stronger because they're going to kind of get some of those kinks out. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, I'm actually really happy for all the critics who praised the show and people talking about it, because after the first two episodes, I actually wasn't that excited about Hacks. But I'm like, okay, everyone's talking about it. Just started getting a bit more, and then the episode where Hannah Einbinder goes on that binge with the one guy.
Yes. Falling.
Like,
yeah.
That is a
and
brilliant episode.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, you got me back. And then just the rest of the way through, it's like, okay, now I get it. Yep, this is great. So,
yeah, it was.
You know, I'm going to disagree with everyone for a minute. I think Hacks is the only comedy this year that I sat down and binged. It's the only show that I sat there and thought to myself, I'm going to put the next one on right now. And I'm a notoriously not a binge one. And it's the only show I could do that with. Even Ted Lasso, which is a show I grew to love, I was lukewarm to it first. And it took me a while to warm into Ted Lasso. But Hacks is something I couldn't get enough of. And I wish it was a 30-episode season. And I think that helps it. I think that's why you see it overperform.
I could agree with that. I mean, I feel like with Ted Lasso, I remember hearing about, oh, you got to watch it. It's so good. And I watched the first couple episodes. I'm like, yeah, this is cute. And then it was like maybe 3 or 4 is where I'm like, okay, I see now what it takes a little bit. Whereas with Hacks, I was kind of like, it is very bingeable. I mean, maybe for something, maybe for not for everybody, but I found it bingeable too.
The only show that I could not put down at all this year was not in contention here, and it is HBO's The White Lotus. If you haven't seen The White Lotus, I could not stop watching it. I watched the entire 6-episode season in one weekend.
Oh my gosh. I didn't, by the way, I didn't get any of those episodes, any of the new. I've been watching it like, I just watched it on HBO. So I got to find out if we're going to talk about it on a future podcast.
Yes.
I think it's funny that with Hacks, you know, you were able to just binge it and love it, Joel, and some, you know, and me and Shadon, looks like it took us a bit longer, but we've all ended up in the exact same place and just thinking this thing is brilliant.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Well, even the creative team, when I interviewed them, the director and writers, producers, they all said we think the show gets better as it goes along, which you don't often hear that. But they were very candid.
I always like hearing stuff like that from
Yeah.
like, I think I interviewed the industry creators and they were like, we're doing better for the second season. We're trying to explain things better. And I thought, you never hear anybody say anything like that. Like,
I think part of that is because I know this because of work. They filmed it very recently.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of these shows they filmed way long ago and then they waited to release them. But Hacks was filmed very recently, very much in the thick of the pandemic. So I think it maybe took them. I give them kudos for it took them a while to get their footing, as any new show is, and I think they achieved a lot with that. But I will say, I know you guys are saying it took a while. I think the most brilliant thing in Hacks, and I think it was because I was fresh off of Mayor. And it was a very Mayor-esque moment, was when you watched Jean Smart change the soda fountain. And it happened for no reason at all. But I think it's the most brilliant piece of television.
Wait, what does she do?
When she changes the soda fountain.
Changes the... Oh, okay.
You just watch her with the CO2 cartridge.
Yeah.
And it's just A+ acting.
Well, it's a throwaway moment. It would be a throwaway moment, except she's totally putting Hannah Einbinder's Ava in her place. She is, you are not important. I am going to stop and do this thing and take this, take my time, not focus on you. I don't care about you. You are, a flea in my orbit right now because I am
less
focused
important than my carbonated beverage. Yeah.
Yes.
To be fair, she's not wrong. Hannah Einbinder's character is dreadfully annoying. I mean, it's a good performance. I like Hannah Einbinder a lot. I think she's a brilliant comedian. She deserves the nomination.
It's okay. It could be an unlikable character.
Yeah, I didn't like her character either.
I didn't like Jean Smart's character at first. I thought she was just playing, she's just being Jean Smarty, kind of sarcastic, like, oh, never mind, you're completely brilliant. I'm sorry, I apologize completely.
See, I always think of Jean Smart as being like on Designing Women, her character on Designing Women. So everything she's done since then, I've been like, oh, this is different for her.
I haven't seen her in that yet, so.
Yet.
That's why I said yet.
Been out for 40 years.
You know how much new stuff there is to catch up with besides this? And now I'm watching anime, and that's just too much. See?
All right. In the interest of time, I'm going to push this forward. Comedy actor Anthony Anderson, Michael Douglas, William H. Macy, Jason Sudeikis, Kenan Thompson. Jason
Sudeikis.
Yeah. I mean, is there anything else to talk about here?
No.
Supporting actress comedy, Adie Bryant, SNL, Hannah Einbinder, Hacks, Kate McKinnon, SNL, Rosie Perez, Flight Attendant, Cecily Strong, SNL, Juno Temple, Ted Lasso, Hannah Waddingham, Ted Lasso. And I can say Waddingham.
Yes, you can.
You bitch.
I think it's Hannah Waddingham. Do you?
I
don't know. Yeah, she's great. But so is Juno Temple.
Yeah, I know she's good too.
Juno Temple is, I think, the kind of the heart of the show, in a way.
Yeah,
I think that's Hannah Waddingham, actually, to an extent. Just that she gets the biggest journey as the character.
Yeah,
she changes the most for sure.
Yeah,
and where she ends up is really great. And I was so sold all year about, okay, she's going to just go to this Emmy and I'm going to be happy. And then I saw Hannah Einbinder, so it's between the two Hannahs for me. And I don't think she's going to win, but yeah, I think it's Waddingham too. So
I hope whoever announces this category goes Hannah.
Maybe it'll be Sean. It'll be Sean Connery, like in 2002, where he says Catherine and Kathy Bates looked really confused.
Oh, I hope that doesn't happen.
I would say Giancarlo Rosie Perez.
I was wondering about that too.
She's not my prediction, but she is a well-respected actor in a show that they like that's not going to win the categories they were hoping for. Mm-hmm. And I think she just kind of pops.
She does.
There's a lot of potential for what they can do with her character in season 2.
Yeah.
Like you can sort of feel it.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny since they originally didn't know if they were going to have a season 2, and yet they set that up so well.
Yeah.
Supporting actor comedy: Carl Clemens, Hopkins Hacks, Brett Goldstein, Ted Lasso, Brendan Hutt, Ted Lasso, Nick Mohammed, Ted Lasso, Paul Reiser, The Kaminsky Method, Jeremy Swift, Ted Lasso, Kenan Thompson, SNL, Bowen Yang, SNL. I'm kind of disappointed in myself that I didn't see Paul Reiser coming. Like, Emmy-nominated actor coming into an Emmy-nominated show to replace an Emmy-nominated performance. I mean,
well, he was there last time and he didn't get in, so it's not entirely. But I'm glad he got in because I haven't finished the 4th season of Kaminsky Method, but in the 3rd season he was really good. I thought he's even better than Alan Arkin that season. So,
What if he wins?
I doubt it.
Well, do you think the Ted Lassos, like one of the Ted Lassos, gets it? Like Winston?
I wonder if it can just be Bowen Yang.
It could be Bowen.
But it should just be Kenan.
Yeah.
it should be Kenan.
Because he's a double nominee. Yeah.
I think SNL is hurting him. I think that there's all the rumors about this is the final. Like they kind of hinted this is the final season for Cecily, Kate, Adi, and Kenan, with the way they kind of brought them out at the end of the finale. You know, when all 4 of them were lined up. But they haven't made any final season.
Yeah.
If they came out early and announced that this is the final season of Kenan, it's the final season of Cecily, it's the final season of Kate. And mind you, just everyone listening, remember this is all speculation, but that could easily push.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll announce that during the voting window.
Yeah.
Phase 2. Because that's traditionally when they would announce it, who is returning and who's not, who is new in August, right? Or late July. If someone wins from Ted Lasso, who do you think it would be?
Brett Goldstein.
Agree.
I think so too, although I really wish it was Brandon Hunt because he just makes me laugh more than anyone else on that show with his one-liners.
But he's so dry and subtle.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree. Brett Goldstein, he's got the most arc as a character. It would make the most sense.
Do you think somebody like Jeremy Swift pops more?
I think he's almost too small at times. He gets his bigger moments near the end of the show.
Yeah.
Mostly he's almost the punching bag for Hannah Waddington.
Yeah.
So
kind of like Tony Hale-ish.
Yeah.
Even left. So.
Honestly, any of them, like anybody in this category, you could argue for too. They're all great.
Yeah, I don't feel I'll be disappointed with anyone who wins this.
Yeah.
Who plays Jamie?
That is Phil Dunster.
He didn't get nominated.
He didn't get nominated. He's really good too.
He is very good. Maybe season 2.
Yeah.
He's also incredibly attractive. I'm just throwing that out there.
Of course he would throw that out there.
He would agree with you.
Yeah, he would agree with
you. Very good. Very good, Ben. All right, let's quickly go through limited series. We already talked quite a bit about these already. 5 nominated limited series: I May Destroy You, Mayor of Easttown, Queen's Gambit, Underground Railroad, WandaVision. A lot of people are still carrying Queen's Gambit, but WandaVision got like 23 nominations. Mayor of Easttown, people couldn't stop talking about it. I May Destroy You, I think, is the underdog here. So what do you guys think?
I think it's Mayor.
I think it was, if this would have been held 3 months ago, it might be Queens, but Mayor, I think, has come along. Can I say just something? Maybe I'm in the minority here, but I feel like WandaVision gets a lot of credit for being better than people thought it was going to be, and not necessarily being great. Just my opinion.
I think it gets credit for being fun at a time when we severely needed it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And that's why I enjoyed Queen's Gambit so much too, actually. I was just thoroughly entertained when it came along, and I think I needed it.
Yeah, because it was also at the time of Bridgerton, like along with Queen's Gambit, it was also the time of Bridgerton, and I think those 3 things have a lot in common.
I I actually think that there's something to be said about things that are nominated that would be considered incredibly escapist. Like, I'm not trying to justify Emily in Paris, but Emily in Paris came out at a time when we still didn't know what the fuck was going to happen. And it was just a stupid, glossy, incredibly stupid, glossy, stupid thing that was, and everything was pretty, and it was something that people could watch. It's stupid. So I'm
stupid.
I didn't say that. I don't. I don't know.
It's a comfort food show. I was trying to describe it to my mom today. She's like, "Well, why can't a stupid show get in?" And I said, "Because there are other better shows out there, like Girls Five Eva and like." Yeah. But I said, but it is entertaining. I will watch season 2.
What, Jalal?
Stupid shows get in all the time. Did you know that?
Well, I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of, like, some people are saying, like, you know, why does Ted Lasso have 4 supporting actor nominations? Like, people love that show. It's something that I think people discovered. I don't know. The softness of it is something that a lot of audiences respond to. So I feel like with a lot of things, you know, across a bunch of different, you know, categories and genres, people, I think, we're looking for something that can just be entertained by.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys touched on this at the beginning, but I think these nominations this year make a lot of sense because this is a year without any campaigning. Besides the one person that did huge in-person events was Disney. And it helped WandaVision because they
paid off.
They perfect the drive-thru. And it's really fun. Last year they did a drive-thru at the Pasadena Rose Bowl where they handed out free Baby Yoda. I mean, but I think this is a year where you couldn't do a lot of campaigning for obvious reasons. And it was also a year where I think we're tired. We're disconnected, we're tired. So it's harder to get people to engage with new stuff. And I think that affected things. So we saw a lot of things that were fun that didn't take a lot of effort for people to watch that they were going to watch anyways, even if they weren't like, oh, it's time for the Emmys. That's why Cobra Kai got in. That's why Ted Lasso did so well. And I think once campaigning opens up later this summer, we'll see a very different lineup and feel in terms of second phase.
Interesting. I do want to defend WandaVision on one point. I think a lot of people love it because it is such a very different Marvel project. A lot of those Marvel movies end up feeling the same in terms of their construct, in terms of their narrative arcs, and you know, they're different actors, of course, but this was a completely different take on Marvel mythology, and I think it celebrated for that.
But I think, Clarence, we're making the same point, and to a degree. I mean, my point is not that WandaVision is bad, is that it's being given a lot of credit for being better and more different than people expected it to be. But that doesn't mean that I think it's great, right? And that's just me. Right. I mean, you know, I'm not mad at it, but
Well, then you look at something like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is a very traditional sort of Captain America-y Marvel project, and 6 episodes never felt so long in my life.
Oh wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's.
I wrote a defense or a consideration for WandaVision, and I have been sick of Marvel stuff, but I was just so delighted to see something that not only entertained me, but gave a depth or whatever that played around with stuff.
Yes.
In a different manner than I was, that, you know, it was advertised as looking like it was going to be very different. And so that was what piqued my interest for it. Not that it was a Marvel property, but it just happened to end up being a Marvel property that was really good. And now I'm done with it. And now I don't know if I care about any other Marvel thing unless, you know, I get other reviews like this for it for something.
Well, it has a theme. Sorry, go ahead, Shadon.
I was gonna say, yeah, I completely agree with you, Ben. Even like I went to see Black Widow, and I was just like, it just didn't feel the same because I was like, we're back to doing the regular thing. And I think one thing that WandaVision had going for it is that like you don't have to, like, I think the sitcom thing was a lot of like a big draw for people who don't normally watch Marvel stuff. Like they were like, what is this like I Love Lucy thing? So I agree with both of you is what I'm saying. But yes, I just wanted to tell you, Ben, I think you're correct. That's my point.
One other also, I've been so sad that Elizabeth Olsen, I feel like, hasn't been doing as much indie things. And then she goes and does some of the most indie depth acting she's ever done in her Marvel role. So that was also fantastic.
Well, indie is about money. It's not.
Well, yeah. I just mean in terms of you don't expect depth from the big money type shows. The Marvel performance that she was giving in the movies, I feel like anyone could have played that role. But in WandaVision, yes, Elizabeth Olsen was the one who played that role. She's the one who could do that.
I have a question for you, Clarence.
Yes.
With the success of WandaVision, and we saw, what's the other Disney stuff? The Mandalorian, obviously. Mm-hmm. What does that bode for, and Don Cheadle? What does that bode for like Loki next year, do you think?
For what?
That's a great
year?
For Loki.
For Loki.
Oh.
That's a great question, and it all depends on where they decide to place Loki. Like it's a dramatic comedy thing that could be a limited series. I mean, it's. I actually think I think Loki pushes itself too far. It becomes. I described it to someone, maybe somebody on this podcast, as being locked overnight in a Think Geek store. And being unable to get out. It's just too nerdy. It's too much. It's too intense. It's too.
What store? I'm sorry.
What's that?
What store did you say?
A Think Geek store.
Oh.
That's a great description.
It's like all the characters are like pop figures. You can just see them coming as pop figures. It just feels so. The first episode I loved, but after that, it just gets so caught up in its mythology that it's just a slog to get through. It is very different than any other Marvel show. I just can't see people broadly embracing this unless they just really love Tom Hiddleston.
I just think that if they're a character or a category for most unnecessary show, I think Loki could definitely win it. And what it really pisses me off is my wife and I watched The Night Manager, which we didn't get around to, and how great Tom Hiddleston is in that. And he's basically done nothing for 4 years but fucking play Loki. I'm done. I'm out. I'm done. No,
he loves
no
it though.
Well, I'm sure he loves the paychecks. Jesus. I mean,
I think he really loves playing Loki.
Maybe he does. I mean, he's not that he's bad at it. I'm not that. It's just that, he is a wonderful actor who is just doing the same thing over and over again.
What I love about Loki, though, is watching Owen Wilson trying to figure out where he is and where Wes Anderson is. It's.
Can we take a moment to discuss my favorite Demois rumor?
Oh, please.
Your favorite what rumor?
Demois rumor.
Demois and Instagram.
Oh, I love Demois. Yeah, what's your favorite?
Did you guys
rumor?
see that rumor where it said that Owen Wilson has been wearing a wig for 20 years?
No.
He hasn't been, but I think it's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life.
All right. TV movie very quickly. Dolly Parton, Christmas on the Square, Oslo. Robin Roberts presents Mahalia, Sylvie's Love, Uncle Frank. So I don't think any of these shows they definitely didn't get any other major nominations. So
Sylvie's Love got some
Sylvie's
stuff.
Love is nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it got some crafts, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud of myself for getting all 5 of these, though. This
job.
is the category I got 100% right.
I didn't pick the movies
I
like
did
Sylvie's Love and Uncle Frank because I thought maybe people would be like, well, no, that's a movie. Like, because I don't know, like instead of a TV movie. I don't know.
Well, there were literally no other options. The other option, I think, was like a comedic version of Never Rarely, Sometimes Always. Right, Joey?
I'm pregnant, yeah.
Like, I think there was literally nothing else.
I was actually, because I did a bunch of interviews for Uncle Frank, and I actually did an FYC piece for I'm Pregnant, just because I thought it was a fun movie. I was going to was like, maybe I could watch all the ones on the ballot and write a piece for it. And then I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
There were a lot more on the ballot than I thought they would be.
Yeah, there was way more on the ballot than I thought there were too. I might do something with TV movie now because I've seen most of them, but yeah.
Well, I mean, is this a category that almost makes no sense anymore?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense now because of what we just went through. With the pandemic and everything was being released a certain way.
But so if streaming stuff still gets allowed to be nominated for Oscars going forward, streaming movies, I mean,
they still have to make a theatrical run now. The Academy.
I know. Do they? Are they bringing that back? Are they bringing that back?
Yeah.
They are. Okay.
It's already in effect. I'm pretty sure starting in 6 months.
Okay.
Yes.
It's in effect, like starting this week or like, isn't it starting in July? The rule is that.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
Oh, am I still breaking up or?
No, you're fine.
No,
so you're saying they're
I was just saying what David was saying. I think that rule literally goes into effect now. Anything coming out in July is when they have to start running in theaters again for the Oscar.
They're still, for this year, I think they're still doing, you can do streaming, but you have to have premiered it first in a theater.
So basically, what happened whatever happened in 2019.
Yes, but it starts. Yeah, you're right, Joelle. I think it starts this month. 4 more categories: limited series, TV, film, actress. Michaela Cole, Cynthia Erivo, Elizabeth Olsen, Anya Taylor-Joy, Kate Winslet. Great category.
Kate Winslet.
Kate Winslet.
I hope it's Kate Winslet.
Same story. 3 months ago, Anya Taylor-Joy would have had this in the bag, I think, but I don't think I think it's Kate Winslet's now for sure.
I don't even think Anya Taylor-Joy is number 2. I actually think Michaela Cole is number 2.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too.
Because she got some nominations for writing and directing, right?
Both.
Yeah.
Actor. This is a weird category. Limited series actor. The front runner didn't even get nominated. The quote unquote front runner, which was Ethan Hawke. Paul Bettany, WandaVision, Hugh Grant, The Undoing, Ewan McGregor, Halston, and Lin-Manuel Miranda and Leslie Odom Jr. from Hamilton.
Joey, you're like the only other person in this thing that has seen Halston, I think. How do you feel about the Ewan McGregor nomination?
No, I saw it.
I am actually really happy that he got it. And I'm actually really, were you the one who tweeted something about how Vera Farmiga oh my God, that's like because I interviewed the director, Dan Minahan, and I was like, that is camp right there. That was the best thing I've ever seen. And he thought it was so funny that so many people were responding to Vera Farmiga, like getting that jock strap stuck in her nose, basically.
Well, it's because that's the only thing that has any moment of fun in this whole show. Is that one unexpected thing? That's you watch a thing about Halston and you expect it's coming from Ryan Murphy, and you expect those kinds of moments, and it's just a standard, straightforward biopic that just looks like he put his name on something that had already been written. Until you get to that moment, and it's Vera Farmiga.
But because I've heard a lot of mixed things about Ewan McGregor's performance, and I don't know if it's just because I love Ewan McGregor a lot, but I thought he was really.
I do too.
I was surprised to see that I didn't think he was going to get in. So that was kind of a pleasant surprise, even though, I agree. I mean, Ethan Hawke should have been there instead. And then also, Hugh Grant showing up for The Undoing, even though Donald Sutherland didn't get in, and Nicole, he's great. I'm glad.
Oh, he's not.
That's an interesting take. But it's interesting that he's the one who got in and no one else did.
No, you're right. Sutherland has all the best moments of.
Yeah.
I thought Hugh Grant was great.
Oh God, I hated the show.
Too.
I mean, actually, let me back up. First 2 episodes I thought were fantastic. When he goes to the husband's apartment, and no cops follow him, nobody's paying any attention. He goes in the middle of the fucking day. I was done. I was out. No, awful.
Well, that's not his performance.
No, you're right, but it's a ridiculous character that no longer works at that point, and there's nothing he can do to save it at that.
I think that speaks to his performance, honestly.
What's that?
Because I think that speaks to his performance. I think he was so good and brilliantly cast that the rest of the creative team didn't put in the work to make it.
I mean, I can see your point. I just feel like it was it turned into a thing where I feel like he wanted to do this because he was playing against type, and it worked for a little while, and then it fell apart completely.
Yeah. I still liked it. Yeah. But Donald Sutherland was great too. That would have been great to see him.
Does anyone have any idea who the front runner is for this category? Because I am at a complete loss. I almost wonder if they're just going to give it to one
Paul
of them.
Bettany? I don't know.
Leslie.
Oh God.
That's what I was thinking. Leslie or Lin-Manuel Miranda. Yeah, one of those two. It seems like that seems a big possibility.
I'm surprised Lin-Manuel Miranda got in with all of the In the Heights controversy. I didn't know if people were like.
I think that happened after, didn't it?
Did it happen? So maybe he won't win. I don't know.
And if Toni Morrison has anything to do with it, he won't win.
I love it. It's not a Hamilton reference without you referencing Toni Morrison.
I will just say I saw In the Heights in the theater, and this is not a critique of the movie at all, but every time Lin-Manuel Miranda comes on screen,
I want to see something with Lin-Manuel Miranda where he's not in it. Like I want. He did. I want to like no. It's not that. It's he needs to get out of his own way. I think a lot of. And I loved In the Heights, and I love Hamilton.
I like In the Heights too, and I hate musicals. So
I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh God. I just I think that his stuff is so successful on stage because he is in them and he can sort of set the tone for a lot of things. But I want to see what he can do with a huge, big musical where he's not the star of it. Now, I will say that he did one musical where he was not the star of it. It was called Bring It On the Musical. Has anyone heard of Bring It On the Musical? No. So, I don't know.
It tours a lot.
Great. Good for that. That's awesome.
I think the front runner might be Hugh Grant. I don't know.
I think it might just be Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, I wish it would be. I mean, I'd love to see Ewan McGregor win.
That would be really funny if he won. Yeah.
I think Ewan McGregor is one of our most underappreciated actors.
Totally agree. Yeah.
He's the only actor I know who has a better English, like American accent than his Scottish accent. Like I think he sounds better like with an American accent, and I'm like, what is wrong with me?
His lack of an Oscar nomination pains me. His lack of an Oscar nomination for Moulin Rouge in particular pains me. And
I used to be nominated for Train Spotting ages ago. I mean, geez, come on.
He got continuously butt fucked by Jim Carrey. If that doesn't garner an Oscar nomination.
Oh, you're right.
He was great in that movie.
Yeah, you're right.
That movie together.
It's really good. Yeah.
And he was good in like The Impossible too. He's a consistent good actor. So I don't know.
Soon to be seen in Disney Plus's Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
Right.
Which he did an interview with I don't know who, I don't remember who it was, but I liked the interview that he gave where he basically said, I used to be a giant asshole. And he's very critical of like people, or maybe he used to be critical of people's perception of him and stuff like that. I thought it was a very interesting read. I'll have to find it and send it, but I just love him.
Do you guys think that, sorry to change the subject real quick. Do you think that Amazon campaigning Uncle Frank could help Paul Bettany specifically in this category?
No, I feel like with the strength of WandaVision, he would have gotten in regardless.
No, I mean to win, Siobhan, sorry.
Oh, no, I think he would have won either way.
He hasn't won yet.
I mean, like, I feel like if he's going to win, he would have won regardless of if Uncle Frank was there or not.
Siobhan has seen into
the date is September 19th. The Emmys have already.
Oh, Jesus Christ, I have a wedding.
I'm so sorry. Can you please say, I would eat the fish, but I'm sorry.
I'm in the wedding. Oh, how do I get out of that?
Oh, shit. Can you just be like obviously going through your Twitter feed as the wedding is happening?
Straight men can watch fucking sports on their phone at any fucking live event they want, so I can do whatever the hell I want.
I'm just picturing you being like, yes! And they'll be like, what are you watching? Emmys?
Gillian Anderson just won.
The game. Supporting actress limited series. The nominees are Renee Elise Goldsberry, Hamilton, Catherine Hahn, WandaVision, Moses Ingram, The Queen's Gambit, Julianne Nicholson, Mare of Easttown, Jean Smart, Mare of Easttown, Philippa Sue, Hamilton. I got my fingers crossed, all toes crossed for Julianne Nicholson win here.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping that. Although I saw a lot of people saying Catherine Hahn.
No, that is a Twitter garbage opinion.
Yeah.
I love WandaVision, and I still don't get why that's such a thing.
Yeah,
she's really good, but it's not a character. She is a plot device. Almost.
Yeah.
I'm gonna push back against you guys for a second, because if she does win, it's the Emmys like to vote for character actors that have been on television for a long time.
Yeah.
That get big moments, and she's the one who is so beloved that if she win, like, it's not out of the question, like, because yes, it's a Twitter thing, and they're talking about it in the terms of WandaVision, but those voters still love. I mean, we all collectively, I'm going to speak forever, I'm pretty sure we all collectively love her just as a person.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you don't love her, you're fired.
No, I react so strongly to that, to everybody saying she's a lock, because they're all thinking about that song.
Yeah.
Agatha all along.
Yeah. By the way, I love Jalal playing devil's advocate against all of us tonight and just killing us.
Is that
here to keep us in check?
Because I'm not really playing devil's advocate, because I'm also predicting Julianne Nicholson. We're all on the same page.
Yeah, I'm just messing with you.
Let's talk about that moment, actually. Let's go back and talk to that silent moment where Julianne Nicholson falls to the ground in Kate Winslet's arms.
David was talking about
I
that.
want my child to be a murderer so that I can fall into Kate Winslet's arms. Oh my God.
Oh my fucking God.
Brilliant acting. Like, actually brilliant acting.
Yeah, I thought it was the most
explodes.
devastating thing I'd seen on television in a long time.
Yeah.
Or when she explodes in the car.
Yeah.
The car was, yeah, I love that.
You know how freaking
That final
upsetting.
episode, how do you not vote for her?
Yeah.
You know how freaking upsetting it's going to be that if that type of performance loses to, and I love Catherine Hahn. I think she's great in the show. I actually think she's great in the show. The part of the show that I don't like, I like that she's like one of the people who is completely aware of the role that she is playing and the device she is playing. She can go between comedy and drama without even letting you know that she's doing it. But I swear to God, those Twitter homosexuals have ruined that whole sequence for me. So it's going to be really sad if she doesn't win
I will say the Catherine Hahn of the first 3 or 4 episodes where she plays the wink wink neighbor, she is brilliant in all of that. What makes me sour on the performance just a little bit is that final episode where she's flying in the sky for 15 minutes going,
yes. Yes.
Or, with the CG, the bad CG where they're fighting in the sky. I mean, you make this, that's what frustrated me a little bit about the show, is that you make this about loss, you make it about grief, you make it about all these seasons of television celebrating so many different things, and then you wrap it up just like every other Marvel show.
You nailed it. That's exactly how I felt. Yes.
I want to do one defense on that part. While that is, I definitely agree with it. One, you were still going to have a big moment, but we still get the moment when everything's going back to normal. We get the moment with Wanda and Vision in the house with the kids. And so that's the part I try to remember more as the ending versus the big battle sequence. So that's just my one little more defense of WandaVision there. But yes, I can see that definitely, though, why that.
I just feel like there could have been a more creative way to wrap up their fight than just to have them flying in the sky. It just.
Although I did like how she outsmarted her versus outpowered her. I did enjoy that moment.
Yes. I will say that moment where she says goodbye to her kids and she knows her kids, she's losing her kids is heartbreaking.
That is really hard.
It's some of the saddest things I've ever seen in the Marvel universe. And I did not cry when Tony Stark died in Endgame.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Come on. All right, very quickly, let's do the last category and we'll wrap this. Thomas Brody Sangster for The Queen's Gambit. Of course, this is supporting actor limited series. Daveed Diggs Hamilton. Papa Isidou for I May Destroy You. Jonathan Groff Hamilton, the most surprising nomination of the day for me. Evan Peters, Mayor of Easttown. Anthony Ramos Hamilton. Evan
First
Peters?
of all, I do want to say when I saw Anthony Ramos, I was like, oh, well, at least he got in for In Treatment. I didn't even realize that he was in Hamilton. Until I saw it, I was like, oh, maybe they'll just give it to him since he's having a moment. He's also in Blind Spotting.
Daveed Diggs was the one that got the SAG nomination, right?
Oh, was he?
Yeah, I think so.
He's everywhere too on TV right now.
He got nominated for the wrong thing.
The sensation that is Snowpiercer. No.
So
I have no idea who's going to win this category.
I'm hoping
Thomas Brody Sangster made me itch every time he was on screen in The Queen's Gambit. That was the one performance I did not enjoy. He made me physically uncomfortable.
Well, it's also because he's like has looked like a little boy since he was like.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
it's it. And the mustache made it worse, right?
Yeah.
It's Evan Peters. I forgot. Evan Peters is going to win this.
Yeah, I think so.
I'd love that. I'm still trying to figure out the swap of the Queen's Gambit supporting performances. I mean, it was all Bill Camp's going to get in, and then he gets in, and then Marilyn Heller is swapped out from. I'm still trying to figure out because in Queen's Gambit then still gets the nomination, so it's not like it lost anything, but they completely switched actors, and it's just I don't know where that puts it, or if that changed anything.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah. Although I don't think he's, I like his performance in Queen's Gambit more than I liked Moses Ingram's performance.
Yes. Well, and even as good as Bill Camp is, Thomas at least has a longer arc as a character and kind of gets to be part of the big moment near the end.
He's not better than Bill Camp. Leave Uncle Bill alone.
You can't.
I'm saying he has more time on screen and is part of her journey.
Yeah, no, I know. You're making the argument for why he got the nomination instead of Bill Camp. I know. I'm just messing with you. Bill Camp was one of the people I've ever interviewed. He just was a lovely man. That's all. So
Bill Camp is now David's uncle. So
I wanted to do badly. so badly.
All right. Let's wrap with any questions? Anything else we want to wrap with? I just completely had a brain fart.
Can I say that I was glad to see Courtney Cox is finally nominated for an Emmy.
Yes.
That's what I was going to mention.
What was she nominated for?
She was a producer on the Friends reunion. So they could literally all win an Emmy if that wins, which is
because they all were nominated, right?
They were all nominated.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, a few that stood out to me real quick. I love that Julie Andrews and Stacey Abrams are both nominated for like the narrator category. That's so delightful to me. And then Courtney, and then Bernadette Peters getting into guest actress is a delight to me because she got nominated for Dancing to Gwen Stefani, which we should all get nominated for. And I'm sure
sometime offline I'll have to tell you a very sad story about Bernadette. Not sad, it was just a very traumatic incident for me.
Jeez. So there's some fun like mixes in with the WTF moments. So happy for Courtney finally getting her nomination 20 years later.
Well, they're not going to win that. It's either going to be Bo Burnham or Hamilton.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's the other. I'm glad that Bo Burnham he got 6 nominations because he's like the editor and the music and everything. But I was worried that it came out too late and not enough people would have gotten to see it before the voting, actually voting. So I'm really glad that he got his due.
All right. Does that wrap it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to thank all of you for joining us on this very long Emmy wrap-up podcast or video podcast. So let's get the hell out of here. So we are Team ADTV. Thanking you for joining us, asking you to remember to rate us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you find us, or on YouTube where you'll find this video, and wishing you a very pleasant